and staff, it just hasn't been pushed or really kind of relevant like I think it should be. Caldwell has such a great tradition of athletics, from football to volleyball, basketball, baseball, and softball, really across the board, tennis, wrestling, really every team, are regional contenders quite often. And track has not been that way. I knew when I was in school, originally my freshman year I went to Trigg County, and then my sophomore, junior, senior years I was at Grays County High School. And Caldwell always had a solid track team. There's certainly a great number of athletes at the school, and it makes sense. I just don't think it's been where it should be the past few years, certainly.
I got you. And how long have you been coaching?
Coaching track, this is actually my first year.
Okay.
This is actually my first full year of teaching, but I had coached baseball and volleyball in the past, and when I came over, they asked if I'd be interested in coaching track. Coach McClung, who actually one of the vice principals at the school, went to school with me, a few years younger than I am, and knew that I had run track. Ran middle school, high school. I ran track in college. So I certainly had experience in track, and I had coaching experience. So making that transition when they asked me if I'd be interested in coaching track along with teaching, yeah, I certainly could.
So when you accepted the position, did you go into it thinking, we need to make some changes, or did you find that out after you got in that you needed to?
I knew that the program wasn't where it should be. It hadn't been in a few years. I wasn't sure where exactly it was at. So I started looking, did some research, kind of went back and looked at information from previous years as far as the regionals scores go, and was a little shocked. I looked at last year's regionals, and the boys, I think, scored 4 points. The girls scored 3. And just to kind of give you a frame of reference, really, if you come in fourth place as an individual at regionals, you'll score 4 points. So really, anybody who scored fourth or higher just by themselves beat our entire track team. And so I knew there was some building to do there. I had talked to some of the folks that had been around, and they had mentioned that there just hadn't been that interest there. And I think last year's team maybe consisted of about 10 total athletes. This year we're at 32.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been recruiting the hallways pretty hard.
So I mentioned earlier I didn't have any experience with track. Where I went to school, where I grew up, the only 2 sports that were available to girls were softball and volleyball. I played both of those, but track wasn't even an option. I don't know if I would have enjoyed track. I think I would have. I'm not sure. Now, I just started trying to run in the last year. I'm 45, and for the first time in my life ever, started running. And, it's a love-hate thing.
Yeah, I'm 46, and I've decided I'm done running for the most part. Right. No, I get out with the kids when I can, and I'm trying to stay in some kind of shape. But when you run track, it's kind of a different mentality than any other sport, because really track is the worst part of every other sports practice. Right. Because basically it's conditioning. Your whole sport is the conditioning aspect of track, and so you don't get when we talked about this. I talk about it with the kids all the time. So you really have to have a certain mindset going into track season that I'm going to do it's going to be a lot of conditioning. It's a lot of running. You don't get a lot of other things involved. When you're playing football, you're at least getting to hit somebody else or, run routes or throw. In baseball, you're working on some different fundamentals, volleyball, tennis, all those different things. Track, it's just running unless you're in one of the field events, which tend to be pretty popular because it gives the kids a chance to do something else. And I certainly, I encourage every kid when we came out this year, just starting up new, I said, try whatever. I'm going to let you try whatever you want to do the first few weeks, and then we're going to kind of see how things go and move people around from there. So it's really like starting a new program.
Okay, so when you say try whatever, what are the whatever options?
Well, we have 17 different events. So you have all the different sprints. You have 100, 200. You have what they call middle distance, which is 400, which is 1 lap, 800, 2 laps, 1600, 4 laps. Then go all the way up to 3,200, which is 2 miles. That's 8 laps around the track, which is something I never did. I was a sprinter. I told my coach in college, I said, you see that line right there? It says finished. When I cross it, I'm not coming back around. So, and then, you get into, you have relays where you have a 4x1. Everybody's running a quarter of a lap. You have a 4x2, which everybody's running a half lap, 4x4, which is 4 people running 1 lap each. And then you have a 4x8. And we're not quite there yet. Distance runners are a little hard to come by right now at Caldwell, but I'm hoping to recruit that. Maybe some of the kids coming up. I've got some middle schoolers with some interest. And then in the field, you have long jump, triple jump, high jump, shot put, discus, the stuff you would normally see, when they show the Olympics. One of the few things that we don't offer is pole vaulting, but it's a fairly expensive event. Just the mat for pole vaulting, they start at about $15,000. And so you can see why that would be fairly limited at the high school level. Not to mention there's insurance and there's special conditions you have to meet, and it's understandable. I pole vaulted in high school and college, and it can be kind of risky. You're up there 15, 16 feet in the air on the end of a inch and a half piece of PVC, basically, hoping that you land on this mat. It's a lot of fun and sometimes a little scary.
That's I'm not sure that's. If I would have gotten into well, no, back then I probably would have. Yeah, back then I probably would have been like the most dangerous part of it. That's what I want to do. That's the one I want.
The terrible part is up just till recently, the past few years, probably the past, I'd say, decade, really have you seen girls and women getting into pole vaulting, and they're catching up pretty quick. So I was looking on there at some of the scores, and there was girls that are doing, or higher than I was in middle school and even into. When I was in high school, and even some of the girls are getting close to what I was doing in college. I certainly wasn't a great pole vaulter by any means, but you see them quickly catching up. They get the opportunity, and I think it's something that girls could do quite well.
So you're saying I wouldn't even had the option back then? Oh, okay, gotcha. I would have fought for it though. I'd have been like, come on now, I can do that. I want to do that. All right. Well, with I guess track is just like one of those. What do you think is the difference in? I mean, why do you think it's not as popular of a sport? Just because it is so physical and so demanding.
It is track. Practices aren't long per se. Today's practice won't be very long, but it will be intensity level, and it just kind of depends on what event you're in as to how it's going to go. My middle distance runners today. People who normally run a 400 today are going to run a pair of 800s just to build up that conditioning. And then tomorrow it's going to be sprinting power work for them. Sprinters today, we'll stretch them out a little bit, and they'll go a little bit more distance, which is not something they're comfortable with just because of the way their muscles are designed. They're designed for that quick, fast turnover as opposed to that long. But they need that conditioning so that they can work longer when we power. When we do our power work, we do our starts and 50s and things like that, where we work on that drive phase, doing through the different aspects of running. And so it really, you have to just be mentally strong to accept that, I'm just going to run today. I'm just going to condition today.
Tell me about the event that you just had.
Our 5K?
Yeah.
Well, the 5K didn't go as well as we had planned, but the color run actually went off really well.
Okay.
So we had a bunch of entrants in that. We set it up. They still ran the 5K around the school. We had it run through the elementary school, middle school. We took advantage of the entire school system complex up there, and everybody had a lot of fun. I wound up getting different colors. I think I told them, I said I was sneezing green and I was spitting pink and I was digging blue out of my ears after the kids caught up to me. I made a run for it, but then I realized, one, I'm 46. Two, I coached the track team, and so that was not going to end well. So I gave up, and they got me pretty good. But everybody had fun. So
what was that? Tell me what was the event about?
We're just raising, one, a little bit of awareness about the fact that we actually do have a track team, and two, raise funds for the things that we need on the track team. The school's been incredibly supportive. We have the things that we need to have, but you have to raise those money for the things that you want to have. The nicer track uniforms, the nicer warm-ups, These kids are out there, and I have an amazingly good group of kids who get along and work hard and show up every day and are great teammates and are a great representation of our community when we go out to places like Crittenden County or Paducah, or we go to Trigg County or McLean County, some of the places we've been so far. And so they deserve to have nice stuff. They've earned that. And so that's what we use that money for. We take it, we get money from sponsors, entry fees. That all goes 100% to the kids to make sure that, one, they have what they need to have, and two, they have some nice things, kind of a reward for all the hard work that they put in, besides just getting to go run some more.
So what is a color run?
Well, we're gonna put people at different places, and they're gonna have a chalk, and it's gonna be different colors: pink, blue, yellow, green, orange, whatever we can get our hands on through Amazon or eBay or whoever I can get it from cheap. And but as you're going, they're just gonna spray you with different colors, and by the time you get done with the race, you're gonna get a time and a shirt the color of a rainbow. So and it's a lot of fun. It's not real serious. You get some exercise in on a nice day. Run around with your friends, listen to some music hopefully, and then you're going to get all colored up. So it's really grown in popularity the past 10 years or so. And I think probably in the fall we're going to shift it up. We're probably going to do another one in the fall, probably October when the weather's a little nicer. You certainly don't want to do one of those, August. I don't want to have to put anybody out because they burst into flame down at the track. Mm-hmm. But we'll probably looking at one in October. It'll be a little easier on myself too, just because it won't be during track season. It'll be a little easier for everybody to put everything together. But we're fortunate. The community came out and supported us. We had several different companies locally, donate, and so it really put us in a good position to make sure that we're going to have the things we got to have to start pushing our program forward.
Good. And, I know when you talk about fundraisers, it's got to be hard to say, hey, come run and pay for it and, help us raise some money. And people are like, no, thanks. I'll just, I'll just give you some money later on. Again, it goes back to that mindset of track. You have to be a particular type of individual. One, that you're going to come out and run up and down the hills at the school if you've ever been out there. And two, let people throw stuff at you while you're doing it. Right. So not only are you going to go run, but you're going to get abused while doing it. But, the kids were supportive. I could hear them cheering all around the different places. And, we had fun with it. And I talked to everybody, a lot of participants afterwards, and they all said that they had a lot of fun. So hopefully we can just keep building on that, maybe make it a bigger community event, start pulling folks in from outside of Caldwell County to participate and make it a big thing and a fun thing. We had people from all different ages. I think we had them from 55 to about 12, 13. There was a couple of the younger kids that ran. So, but not many in the 6 or 5K. What was it, a 5 or 6?
The 5K was, we just had a few participants for that. It happens. Part of that's probably on me, just the learning experience of it, how to get the word out, how to manage it. That's something you learn, you grow, you do better.
Well, this is your first one.
Yeah.
We'll give you a minute.
We made money. That's all. It's okay.
Well, that's right. That's right. And in the fall, you can make more.
Yeah.
So that's good. I was going to ask if you were going to do it again, so I'm glad you touched on that.
Yeah. And I like doing something where we don't have to just ask for money, where people are getting something for what they're. I would love, if somebody wants to come by.
They get to go work to give you money. Yeah.
Yes. But if somebody wants to come by and write a huge check to Caldwell County Track, I will accept that as well. I won't turn that away.
Absolutely. Right. Now, just let me real quick, because I said I don't know that I could have gotten into that. What got you interested in track? How does one get in that? You said it takes a special kind of mindset. How do you get to that point? When
I was in middle school, I played baseball for a long time, but as I got older, I was a hyperactive kid. And baseball did not mesh with that. I could not. I was the kid in the outfield chasing butterflies and drawing in the dirt, and so baseball wasn't it. And so I needed something after basketball. I played football, I played basketball, and then there was nothing until really football started up again, and I went out and ran track, and I was pretty good at it. I was pretty fast. I could jump, and I liked it, and so that's what I went with. And I was just fortunate enough that I got to play college football. And when I was there, the coach called me up from the track team and said, "You want to run track?" Sure. Again, it gave me something to do in the spring, and I've always kind of loved it. I appreciate the raw athleticism in track. It's just, it's man versus man versus man versus man, and it's who's the best, who's the fastest. Just the pure athletic, and then the skill that goes into a lot of the different. You watch somebody high jump, just the skill and technique that goes into that. You watch the guys that pole vault. It just amazes me to watch these guys go 18, 19 feet in the air with that. So there's, it's just that combination. There's so many different things that you can do.
All right, Steve, well, I appreciate you coming in today. Is there anything else you want to tell us about, Caldwell County High School track team?
No, I appreciate you having me on, getting the word out that, yes, we do have a track team. We're working on getting the track improved to the point where we can have some teams over. So hopefully we can, have some folks out. You can come see us run in the near future. And it looks good. I've had a lot of parents from the elementary and middle school level asking. So interest is growing, and hopefully we just keep building and make it the program that it should be.
Absolutely. So at this point, when what do they call? Are they track meets?
Meets, yes.
Okay. So when is your next or first, or have you had a first? Or?
We've had several.
Okay.
Thursday we're at Crittenden County. Monday we're at Trigg County. We've got one coming up at Hopkins County Central, and then regionals, which are really the big one. For track, it's a little different. It's almost like we have a bunch of scrimmages, and then we have one actual game, and that's the regional. The one that really counts is the regional. That's what determines who's going to go to state, and those are on. That's just got moved to the 20th of May because of it's at Paducah-Tillman, and there were so many graduations going on the 18th that they've moved it to Monday the 20th, which is okay because we're off the next day because of elections.
Okay.
So we're still in school at that point, but we're out because of elections. So I don't mind that one so much. But that's the big meet. And of course, it's at Tillman, part of our region, just a powerhouse track program in the state. There's a reason why they've got 38 state championships in track. So
yeah,
we've got a little work to do to catch up, but we're getting there. The kids we have out, they show up, they work hard, they have the right mindset. And, it's a group of kids you guys can really be proud of that represent the school and the community when they go out there. They laugh it up. They joke with other teams. When it's time to get to work, when their event's up and it's, business, they get down, they take care of it. And when they're done, they're back to it. They go around and like I said, they joke with, the other kids, and they're always laughing and high-fiving and talking about how they did and swapping stories. So it's fun to kind of sit back and watch as a coach. You don't get that in other sports. During the basketball game, they aren't walking around talking to each other and joking about things.
Right.
And football games are not. They might talk. You might know a kid, and you may see them talking. But at track it's a little different because you have so much downtime in between things.
Gotcha. Well, Steve, I appreciate you coming in today. We'll definitely have to come back again and talk about track because, I learned a lot today. I didn't know anything when you first got here, so.
Hopefully I'll have some updates and some good news. And we'll definitely do better at regionals than we have the past few years. So.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
All right, thank you.
Steve Shaw, that is our Caldwell County High School track coach. We are going to talk to somebody coming up here. I want to talk a little bit about some planning and zoning stuff because, there are rules. We're going to find those out in just a minute.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Taking a look at your Monday forecast, starting off a little bit chilly, but it's